And we are back with more Base Sunday. Growing up biracial can generate lots of questions. Where do I fit in? Am I black or am I white? Which race do I identify with? And sadly, many of those questions do get answered by society at a far young age. Our next guest has lived the life and is helping others navigate the sometimes difficult journey through some brilliant writing. Authors of Two Levels, a novel about a young biracial girl that demonstrates some extraordinary courage as she lives and discovers exactly who she really is. Let's say hi to the author, Johnathan Miller, a Stanford graduate. How are you? Good to have you on board.
Thanks for having me.
Well, you're biracial.
Yes.
You grew up primarily in New Mexico and then came here to the States. Talk about your upbringing and the conflict that's in the book that really was something that you questioned as a young boy and a young man.
Sure. I'm now 42, so this started in the 70s, early 70s. Mm-hmm. And my dad is black and my mom is white. So I'm biracial. Now I'm a father and a husband. I was a teacher in Oakland for 7 years in the late 90s, and now I'm a writer. And I write novels that, they're intended to be thrillers that could be enjoyed on any level, but I try to touch on issues of diversity. In this case, the main character is biracial.
Yeah, they pack a message.
That's the goal.
Do you discover as a young man or a young boy who you are, or does society kind of tell you who you are, and then you have to decipher it?
I mean,
is it a little bit of both, I guess?
It's probably a bit of both. I mean, it's been an interesting journey. I mean, on one hand, I've experienced firsthand, because I'm very light-skinned, what it means to be accepted and embraced by the world as white. So I've had that experience, and I've also, same day, simultaneously had the experience of, looking around, especially growing up, and not seeing anybody in positions of power that was like me, mm-hmm. not having peers like me, being in the extreme minority. So trying to balance those sets of experiences, it's a perspective, I would say, that not everybody shares.
Do you have siblings?
I do.
You do?
Yeah, I have an older brother.
And well, let's talk about the book. We'll talk about him in a moment. Two Levels, it's a book about a 7-year-old girl, Jasmine, who is biracial. Talk about what she gets into and give us a little synopsis.
Yes, so it's told from her perspective. Yes. So it's it's not an everyday take on the topic. Yeah. So she finds herself trapped in a shopping mall during a crisis. And the shopping mall, the inhabitants of the shopping mall, as they wait for help and try to survive this crisis period, the situation kind of devolves and people divide roughly along racial lines. So mm-hmm. the book is about Jasmine more or less alone, trying to navigate this unusual situation.
Where do I fit in?
Where do I fit in this?
Why did you write the book with her perspective, kind of in her narrative?
It's a good question. I think I wanted to try my best to view this situation through the eyes of someone young and mm-hmm. to distill it down to a level that would be easy to digest and maybe get at the core of some of the issues that maybe only a kid could do.
And what do you hope is the takeaway if someone, white, black, or whatever, reads your book?
I mean, first you hope that they're entertained above all else and they're engaged, but beyond that, if I could do one thing, I would say, bridging the racial gap isn't a choice from my perspective. One thing I've learned as a biracial person is that, for me, it was never an option to, retreat to my, to one tribe. I've always in my life had to navigate these middle grounds, and that requires listening. It requires believing other people's experiences. I think, if anybody could take anything away, I think a lot of us, in this country could benefit from viewing, this racial gap as not this optional bridge that we have to build, but something that is mandatory.
Absolutely. President Obama, biracial, has that helped kind of
I mean,
Close the gap a little bit?
Let me say, I mean, on a personal level, for me, it was.
Amazing.
I mean, yeah. I mean, growing up in the '70s, growing up the way I did, I mean, I would have never guessed. I mean, if you'd have told me it was even possible, I would have told you were crazy. So, I mean, for me personally, it was. I mean, it was life changing. You know, does it indicate that the world is different? You know, I don't know. I think it's an easy kind of seductive conclusion to make that, you know, when you see something as sea changing as the president, you know, that it means everything's okay, but it's somewhat of a myth. It's a good sign, I would say, but I don't think we're quite there.
Your brother, he's read the book.
Yes.
And what's his thought?
You know, he's not a literary guy, he's a scientist, but yeah, no, but he he liked it. Yeah, he definitely liked it.
Well, Johnathan, we wish you all the best with it. Thanks for coming in and sharing.
I appreciate you having me.
All the best. For more information about Johnathan Miller's book, The 2 Levels, you can log on to jonathanmiller.com, jonathanmiller.com, and you've got, what, 4 or 5 other books as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah, check them out. More on Base Sunday right after the break. Stay right there, folks.